Hello, my name is Abel Abelson. I'm the writer of a few books, links in the description. And in this video, I would like to continue the series on pitfalls and mistakes for intellectually gifted people, taking myself as an example, as I made a lot of mistakes. And specifically in this video, I'd like to talk about getting sidetracked as one of the main challenges in life for me, and I think for people like me. So, what do I mean by getting sidetracked? There's two aspects of zoom out levels of this. One is on a daily or even hourly basis. You get up in the morning, you have a lot of great ideas of what you're going to do with your day, with your life that day, and then you start doing this, and then there's kind of this, you could call it a kind of neurotypical wave of stuff that comes your way, that comes rolling through your house, your life, your internet content, your professional relations, your everything. It comes rolling over you and you get completely lost in it. And at the end of the day, what did you do? It feels like nothing. You just struggled with this wave of neurotypicality. On a second level, a much more zoom out level, this also applies to your complete life. So you may have a kind of general drives or even conscious directions which you want to take in your life, and you get sidetracked over and over again and don't seem to get those things on track. You don't seem to be able to realize them. Again, in a certain sense, because of this gigantic wave of a neurological reality that isn't yours, of an existence that is not exactly like yours, but that by its sheer majority and its sheer quantity and sum of little and big influences, again, pushes you away and almost forces you on sidetracks. I compare it often as like going out for walk in the woods and you know which direction you want to go to. There's this fabulous lake with a view where you want to go to and you're walking towards it, and then you do like 5 steps and there's some troll that jumps out of the earth and clings itself to your leg and starts being obnoxious. And what do? You shake your leg and you try to push it away, and a second troll comes and it pulls you by the arm, and so you're pushed into, you're pulled into the woods over there, and then a third and a fourth, and before you know it, you're at a completely other place and in a completely other direction that you set out to take, fighting with trolls. Other people may be not fighting, but trying to educate the trolls. Still others might be trying to manipulate the trolls and think, oh, I'm manipulating them really well, and so this is going all great. In the end, all this attention to these, in my metaphor, trolls, simply turns out to sidetrack you completely from your original great mission for the day or for your life, which is this great lake with a view in the distance. You'll never get there because you're too much occupied with trolls. And I think this is a really important challenge and pitfall for intellectually gifted people and neurodivergent people in general. Your existence is what your neurological machinery makes of it. We don't know what's out there. We only have the perception which our neurological machinery fabricates, given certain triggers, visual triggers, auditory triggers, stuff like that. The effect of this is that, in a certain sense, everybody lives in a slightly different world, individually speaking. If you're, however, going to look at patterns of differences of the neurological machinery, and there's also a part of nurture that comes in, education, life experience, etc., you'll see that a lot of people have a kind of very similar world they live in, because they have a very similar neurological machinery and even a very similar nurture story. Now, if you're neurodivergent, if your machinery is significantly different, and how do you know if it's significantly different? Well, because you feel it daily people who don't have this experience won't know maybe what I talk about, but you can feel if you really have different machinery, because all the time everything is a bit off in the way people react to events, in the way you interpret events, in the way you foresee things, in the way you look back at things, in the way you feel things. It's always a bit off. So you'll have a bunch of people who live in a kind of similar world, and then your world will be quite different. But you're mixed together, packed together like sardines in the same can. You're packed together like ants in the same anthill. So to take the ant metaphor, there's all these ants that wake up in the morning and that happily go about their life, understanding each other really well, all very happy to be part of this same kind of dealing with events. And then there's this one ant here and one ant there and one ant somewhere else that wakes up and that actually feels things very differently, that actually normally, naturally tends to go in other directions, to do stuff in another way, to feel reactions that are different to the same events than the others. And the challenge for these ants, if you want, is to realize their life. So how can we realize this to not get sidetracked all the time? To start with, you have to be very, very, very conscious about neurodivergence and the details of it. So by neurodivergence, I mean the individual differences between brains, if you want, from one individual to another. Now, I know that for the greater part, human brains are equal. I know. At the same time, there are small differences that are big enough to really make your existence significantly different from other people, to really make your daily experience, your hourly, minutely, second by second experience quite different from that of other people. And the first thing is to be very aware of this. So in my past, I wasn't enough aware of this. I wasn't aware of this at all. It's not what you're taught at school. It's not what you're taught by the, let's say, politically correct articles all over, because all those tend to stress the similarity, which is there. I don't deny it. Of course, we're very much similar, more similar than different. But these differences are significant and important. And if you don't take them into account, one, you bump into a lot of walls without understanding why. And two, you cannot realize your life as it is natural for you and as it should be for you. So this is the first thing. Be very aware of neurodivergence. The second thing is accepting that you won't change all those other people. Now, this might sound logical, but in my case, I unconsciously kind of thought that below the surface, there was a kind of identical human setup in everyone. And that if I would discuss with people and pass on information and stuff like that, that we would finally end up seeing things more or less the same way. It doesn't work like that. Of course, it can work like that between people who have a very similar neurological structure, a very similar mind. So you can discuss with these people and you'll get on similar grounds. Other people simply have very different reactions to the same triggers, to the same events, to the same world, if you want, and you won't discuss your way out of this difference. They see what they see, they feel what they feel, and it is different than your reactions, feelings, and perceptions. And it's not as if you have to correct them or add something to them. It's simply the way they naturally see and feel and react to things. There's nothing to correct. It's already as it should be. But it is different. And this lack of accepting these differences is a major reason of getting sidetracked. So you get up in the morning, you want to do your stuff, you open the door, you meet someone, or you see someone that has a very different reaction to an event than yourself. And instead of simply accepting this as an instance of neurological difference at work. The fact that this person has a brain that reacts in this way to reality. Okay, it's like it is. You make the error, the mistake of trying to correct their reaction, and you're sidetracked. Now, of course, you can give it a try. Why not? But we easily get lost in really stubbornly trying to fix these things. We feel it as fixing, but actually we're not fixing anything. We're just trying to turn a zebra in a giraffe. There's no sense to it. We're trying to turn a chimpanzee in a bonobo, or vice versa. It doesn't work like that. And we're sidetracked. A third factor in getting sidetracked is that you measure your own success by the success of these others. So they go in their direction and they may succeed very well or not, but some of them succeed very well and they exude this success. And you may be mistakenly trying to be successful in the way they are successful. But their success isn't your success. They have a different mind, a different brain setup. It's like they are chimpanzees, you're a bonobo, or they are giraffe and you're a zebra. It's not their success if it's a giraffe reaching high for the top leaves of a tree. It's not something you should be concerned with. It's again getting sidetracked. You need to focus on your own success. And you have to define your own success in your own terms that correspond perfectly with your natural self. So there we get to the aspect where it's really important to really get to know yourself. This seems simple to say, but it isn't, because it's not all that simple to tell the difference between what other people put into your mind about yourself, the difference between what you would like yourself to be based on what others would like you to be, and what and who you really are. So this is a whole mission to undertake, a whole journey to undertake, which is very interesting, but which shouldn't be minimized. It's difficult, and as long as you haven't started this journey, you're simply very much mistaken about who you are, and you'll get sidetracked because of that. You'll also, of course, have to really understand how others do function. Study them as they are. And this is why I wrote my book, How to Handle Neurotypicals, which is the result of my many years of studying what you could call neurotypicals as they are, in order to understand them as they are. Not to change them, but to simply be able to see them for what they are and handle reality as it is. So if you're interested in that, check out the link to my book in the description. And the last aspect for me about getting sidetracked is, strangely enough, getting sidetracked because of your own former objective. I, for one, am someone who changes a lot because I learn a lot and I correct a lot of mistakes in me, and then I make new mistakes and then I correct them again. And so there's a lot of evolution in me going on. And if I, in the metaphor again of walking in the woods toward a lake with a view, maybe along the way I'll realize that the lake with a view isn't the real objective for me anymore. Maybe it never was. Maybe I realized that it was something my father put in me as an objective for me, but that actually I don't like lakes and I'm not interested in lakes. And that maybe the mountain is more interesting for me. Maybe it's also that the lake really was something for me, the me of 5 years ago, but me now is not the same as me 5 years ago. So, all this about getting sidetracked. Please leave your comments, tell me what you think. A gigantic thank you to everyone who subscribes and likes, stuff like that. Check out the links to my books also in the description, and see you in the next video.